Hello, students. Welcome to Oxford Modern English online class. Today's lesson is from grade 6 English book, and our lesson is A Polar Explorer. First, I will read the difficult words of this lesson. Caribou, disputed, expedition, encircling, Inuit, Norway, obey, ostentatious, Oslo, Pacific, perseverance, reciprocate, scrutiny, wrecked. Students, now I will read the meanings of these difficult words. Caribou means reindeer. Disputed means disagreed with. Expedition means a journey undertaken by a group of people with a clear aim to explore. Encircling, surrounding, Inuit. Previously Eskimos, the people who live in the Arctic region. Norway, a country in northern Europe. Obey, to do what you have been told to do by someone in charge. Ostentatious, deliberate, and obvious display. Oslo, the capital of Norway. Pacific, peaceful. Perseverance, persistence in doing something despite difficulties or delays. Reciprocate, repay someone's actions in a similar way. Scrutiny, close, careful examination. Wrecked, destroyed at sea. Students, this lesson is about the great explorer named Roald Amundsen. Let's start reading. Roald Amundsen was born in Norway in 1872. As a child, he read about famous British explorers. He joined as many sports teams as he could and slept with his windows wide open, despite the freezing cold Norwegian winters, so that he could be fit, strong, and ready if he got the chance to be an explorer. Amundsen's family worked in the shipping industry, but his mother wanted him to avoid the dangers of a life at sea. So she encouraged him to be a doctor. He obeyed his mother's wishes while counting to read about explorers. When he was 21 years old, his mother died. Amundsen left university and began his life as an explorer. Some of Amundsen's achievements. He was the first to pass through the Northwest Passage in the Arctic Ocean. He was in the first expedition to reach the South Pole on 14th December 1911. In 1926, he led a successful expedition to the North Pole. He is recognized as the first person to have reached both poles. In early expedition, Amundsen was part of the crew. He watched, listened, and learned some useful skills. Once, on a ship trapped in ice, he observed how the doctor's hunting skills provided the crew with fresh meat and kept them free from scurvy. Scurvy is a disease caused by a lack of vitamin C. It can lead to illness, the loss of teeth, and death from bleeding. When he was 28 years old, Amundsen became the leader of expeditions in his own ship Joa. The ship is still on display at the Fram Museum in Oslo. From 1903 to 1906, Amundsen took a crew of 6 men on Joa on an expedition to find a route through the Northwest Passage. The Northwest Passage is the name of the sea route through the Arctic Ocean from the Atlantic to Pacific. Due to the very cold temperatures, the area is frozen over most of the time. For a short while each year, the ice around the land in the north of Canada can break up enough to allow vessels through. Joa was small enough to pass through these waters and over the shallow areas that would have wrecked bigger ships. During the winters, when the ship was frozen into ice, the crew watched the Inuit who lived there and picked up important Arctic survival skills such as using dogs to travel by sledge. These were useful on later expeditions to the North Pole. Amundsen also stocked up on furs to wear, which were much warmer than the woolen clothes he had. Getting to the North Pole was a challenge. First, Amundsen tried to go by ship, but it got stuck in ice. He had to think of another way to achieve his goal and decided to travel by plane. The first attempt in 1925 was dangerous and unsuccessful. Finally, in 1926, Amundsen made it to the North Pole. 3 other people claimed separately to have got to the North Pole before Amundsen, but all of these have been disputed. Amundsen's skills and perseverance made him the first person to be able to claim that he had been to both poles. He said that his success came from proper preparation and having the appropriate equipment. He said, "Victory awaits him who has everything in order." Amundsen wrote about his experiences in his autobiography, My Life as an Explorer. One day, 2 of the boys and I were standing on the deck when one of them exclaimed, "There is a caribou." He pointed to a small black object just on the skyline of one of the encircling hills. The other man, who had the best vision of the 3, looked steadfastly at the black object for a moment and then turned to his companion and said, "That caribou walks on 2 legs." Sure enough, close scrutiny confirmed his quick perception that this was not a caribou but an Eskimo. Some other 2-legged caribous joined the first until 5 figures were outlined against the sky. Then they advanced towards us in a body. I sent the 2 boys for their rifles, and then the 3 of us advanced to meet them. I was in the lead, and behind me came my little army of 2. As the Eskimos neared us, we could see they were all armed with bows and arrows. This began to look like a ticklish situation. We had no way of knowing whether their intentions were friendly or hostile. Certainly, they were equipped for war. However, there was nothing to do but meet them face to face. The 2 parties proceeded to within about 15 paces and then halted. I then turned to my army and instructed them ostentatiously to throw their rifles on the ground. I then turned to the Eskimos. Their leader, seeing this specific move, imitated it by turning to his followers and uttering a command. They obeyed by throwing their bows and arrows on the ground. I was unarmed and advanced towards them. The Eskimo leader also came out alone. It is remarkable how accurately two men can communicate who do not speak a word of a common language and whose whole experience of life seems utterly separated from each other's expressions of the fact, nods and shakes of the head, gestures and tones of the voice convey meaning with astonishingly accuracy. By these means, I quickly convinced the Eskimo leader that I wished to be his friend, and he reciprocated my wish. Soon we were all friendly, and I invited them down to our ship. In June 1928, aged 55, Amundsen was traveling in a plane on a rescue mission when it disappeared. Amundsen and the rest of the crew were never seen again.